Sin and punishment? What is this? Bible school? No. This is video games. It's my favorite thing in this game. It's knocking that guy out the window. Hello, my name is Jaron Thompson. Today, we're talking about Sin and Punishment, made by Treasure and Nintendo on the Nintendo 64. So Sin and Punishment is a game that has just really impressed me over like this month that I discovered this game. I mean, I've always heard of it. I played the Wii one, like Star Successor, Sin and Punishment Star something on the Wii. I actually played that game a lot, really liked that one, but I always thought to myself, well, the N64 ones gotta be worse, so I'm just not gonna play that one. I was wrong. So, to back it up a bit, Nintendo, you know, they have the Nintendo 64 Online Plus expansion pack. Just the dumbest name you could possibly name anything, but this is coming from the company that literally get called the new 3DS. The new 3DS. One of the games on the Nintendo 64 Online, which I just never had a chance to play, was Sin and Punishment. And let me tell you, this game rules. As a kid, I never really played the Nintendo 64. I was always a PlayStation 1 kind of guy. The first video game I ever played was actually not on the PlayStation 1. It was Vegas Stakes on Super Nintendo, which the opening of Vegas Stakes on Super Nintendo is actually the theme I use in almost all of these videos. I don't think a single soul has like ever said that or probably knew that. I think on like the video on YouTube somewhere in like 2013, I commented like, this is the first video game I ever played. And I think it got like 4 likes, and I thought it was pretty cool. It's like one of the first comments I ever made. But then, you know, I played the Super Nintendo growing up. And then we got the PlayStation 1, baby. And I never really interacted with the Nintendo 64. I mean, my cousin had one. We played like the multiplayer of Conker's Bad Fur Day way more than any kid should have been allowed to. I mean, to sum it up, while you were playing Mario 64, I was playing No One Can Stop Mr. Domino. We are not the same. But I don't think Sin and Punishment is ever one of those Nintendo Treasure, Nintendo R&D 1 was involved in this game, so I'm calling it a Nintendo game. Nintendo game on the Nintendo 64. That's a lot of Nintendos. So Sin and Punishment is made by Treasure. Treasure, his first game ever was Gunstar Heroes on Genesis, which is pretty alright. I mean, I have some issues with Gunstar Heroes, but you know, it's pretty good. It's like Contra, but more. But I mean, everyone knows them for the second game they made, which was McKids. So I actually screwed up really bad. The game's called McDonald's Treasure Land. I got that mixed up with the other McKids game on NES. Please forgive me. Now let's talk about McKids for a second. I do not know what they were smoking when they made McKids. And I don't know how McDonald's looked at this and was like, yep, this is a product we should sell. This is good. How much is McDonald's? How much money do I have? Oh, I have like none. I have to go to McDonald's? Yo, what the? Well, I guess it's got that treasure difficulty, man. What? What is Ronald doing? Oh. I'm pressing every button. Nothing's happening. So obviously, this is just don't get hit. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that is just whatever the heck that is. Oh, there he goes! There goes Ronald! Oh, Ronald's unfazed. As one should be. Shoot! What is that? Okay. Giant sea monster? What is this game? I really feel like this game was like not a McDonald's game until like 3 months until it was supposed to be released, and they were like, oh, it's, by the way, this weird LSD trip game we made, make it McDonald's themed now. I will say, after recording the footage for McKids, you wanna know what I did right after? I did order McDonald's. So, maybe they got me. Oh, but Treasure was not done. They had another game in them. A game very similar, but with a different name. And that game is Dynamite Heady. I mean, gotta love Dynamite Heady. I mean, what kind of... I mean, are we talking about real video games here? Shoot, Dynamite Heady's gonna have to give some heady to save the town. What makes him dynamite? What makes him heady? I don't know. This is video games. Now, some of you might say to yourself, Dynamite Heady would never be ballin'. Well, then explain this.
ABAP means as baller as possible. All the games follow that strict policy. ABAP.
The treasure game, most people, I would say most people know Ikaruga. If you played Sonic Frontiers, you played Ikaruga. Now, Ikaruga probably goes down in history as being like the hardest game I've ever played. Like, I've had Ikaruga, you know, since the GameCube. It's been a game that has just plagued me. It just sits there and just laughs in my face. Like, you get to the second level of Ikaruga, and you know, it's okay. And then you get to the third level of Ikaruga. I just don't know what that is. Oh, okay, we got this. This is easy. Wait, what? Huh? It's like, what are those, like, what am I supposed to do? You know, you go online, you type in Ikaruga gameplay or something, and some, like, insano dude is doing it, you know, hardest difficulty, not taking a single hit. But that's not the Ikaruga experience. But let's talk about Sin and Punishment. So, the story of Sin and Punishment. Huh? I don't know what the story... I will try to explain to you the story of Sin and Punishment. I have not read a single... I'm not going to read a synopsis off Wikipedia. I'm just going to do it of what I understand from playing this game for like a month straight. So, there's a guy named Iron.
No, Iron.
And there's some guy who has a Japanese-like name.
Iron, do you want to change Saki back into a human?
I can't remember it, but that person and Iron... Iron's got some, like, demon blood shenanigans going on, and, like, a revolver that's pretty, that owns. And the world's being destroyed, but Iron's got, like, this demon blood, and this like, kid is teaching them that they need to take down the man. And while doing that, Iron turns into Ava Unit 1 from Neon Genesis Evangelion. We'll get to that. And then after he does that, you play his girlfriend, who has a really annoying voice, by the way, and she needs to make it that Iron's no longer transformed, and then she surfboards on a piece of rubble while destroying an entire navy. And then she goes to the train, the vision train from Evangelion.
Huh? I'm sorry. I'll stop crying.
Where am I?
And then she shoots Iron in the face, goes into like his chest cavity. And they end up on a beach. The world's gonna end, and the girl betrays them, there's some spiders somewhere in between that, and the game ends. Nowhere do I see sin or punishment, unless the sin is the demon blood and the punishment is turning into robot guy. But basically this game is Evangelion. So Evangelion's like a weird anime from 1996, but in reality, if you live in the United States, it's a weird anime from 2019 when Netflix bought the rights to it. This is about the closest thing we will ever get to probably a good Evangelion game. There are like a billion Evangelion games. All those games suck and they're weird. But anyway, I guess the gameplay. Let's talk about the gameplay. It's like a rail shooter, but it's like more arcadey than that. You can move around, you can jump, you gotta dodge, you have a sword. And the game's constantly throwing new mechanics, new stages. Every stage is pretty different. You know, the first stage has you running, and then the second stage has you doing a little more of that. But then, like, at the end of the second stage, you gotta use the sword to defeat the boss, and then you got another boss you gotta defeat with the sword.
Get bonus.
That face? What is that face? You have some side-scrolling levels. You have some levels where you're flying through the sky. I mean, there's a whole lot going on. It's kind of bullet helly, but it's also kind of not. There's something about the gameplay loop of Sin and Punishment just really clicked with me. Like, it just feels good to play. And with, like, the N64 controller, it's kind of weird. I actually inverted my hands, used the D-pad to move, and then the joystick to aim, because you always use the joystick to aim. I feel like it's better if you use the D-pad to move than to use the C buttons, because the N64 C buttons suck. I actually think the D-pad on the Nintendo 64 controller is like one of the best D-pads Nintendo ever made, yet you never use it. Like 10 games maybe use it in all of Nintendo's catalog. But the reason I think Sin and Punishment is so important is because without Sin and Punishment, and then Sin and Punishment 2, which isn't quite as good, Sin and Punishment 2's problem is they give you a jetpack, and you can just fly around the screen now. Like, you don't stay grounded. You have kind of some ground that you're always stuck on. You're always grounded in Sin and Punishment 1. Sin and Punishment 2, they give you the ability to fly, which I think ruins the game. Without Sin and Punishment, we would not have Kid Icarus Uprising. Now, Kid Icarus Uprising is probably one of the best games ever made that is the least accessible game ever made, all at the same time. If you are left-handed, this game might as well not exist. Kid Icarus Uprising is one of my faves. Love that game. I have 97% completion in that game, which if you think about how much garbage there is to do in that game, that's pretty good. But it is stuck on the 3DS. You have to play with the stupid pen. You have to have this accessory to just keep your 3DS upright. Recording this footage, like, broke my hand because I had to, like, reach around my tripod to, like, kind of get, like, a good shot. It's probably, like, bad off-screen footage. But you can't, like, play this game without the pen. I don't even think it would work that great with a stick. I don't know, maybe people have hacked it, but yeah, Kid Icarus Uprising is Sin and Punishment done 100%. And so without Sin and Punishment, you know, we won't have Kid Icarus Uprising. And so that's why it's probably the most underrated and best Nintendo 64 game. That's my hot take. So, what is the sin? What is the punishment? I mean, that's what it comes down to. And I think the sin is that I didn't play this game till right now. And the punishment is I had to make this stupid video.